Hello, Boba Fett fans. I'm Chelsey B. Coombs. I'm a contributor with Boba Fett Fan Club, and today I have another new review on some of the cool Boba Fett and Jango Fett toys that are out there right now. If you remember back in the 90s, there used to be a Micro Machines line with lots of different Star Wars vehicles and figures, all that kind of good stuff, play sets. That was gone for a while, but now Jazwares has kind of resurrected it as Micro Galaxy Squadron. We're on Series 2 now. Boba Fett's Starship from the Book of Boba Fett was originally in the launch edition. It's still available, so we'll talk a little bit about this one and the pros and cons of that. But this one is a Target exclusive. It's Jango Fett's Starship, and this one just came out. It's just hitting stores, and it's just available to order online. So we'll take a look at both of these. I'll let you know kind of my thoughts and opinions and let you know if they're worth picking up. Let's get started. A really cool level of detail is the fact that the boxes, the box art itself, they look really similar. They're obviously repaints of the same ship, but you have them in the specific places where they would be. You've got the New Republic X-Wings and TIE Fighter chasing Boba Fett in his Book of Boba Fett version of Slave One, while obviously Jango Fett, it kind of reminds you of in Attack of the Clones. You've got the asteroids right here. Obviously that one is Yoda's Starfighter, which is also one of the new Micro Galaxy Squadron Series 2 fighters there. It's really cool that they added that kind of level of detail there, where it's obvious that they're the same ship, but they're in two completely different time periods. Something that I really, really like about the Micro Galaxy Squadron line is kind of just like looking around and finding where are all the places that you can move or open. You've got the twin blaster cannons here, and those both rotate. The cockpit obviously opens from there. You can see there's 3 seats in there, although it's not exactly super accurate considering the fact that Boba and Jango are supposed to both sit in the same row, but, it kind of is what it is. We've got over here, you open up this part, and that's one way that you can open up the cabinet itself. There's the weapons rack, and that moves on a little kind of point there. But there are also other ways that you can get it to move as well. Might be a little difficult to show, but it wouldn't be the Slave One if the ramp didn't come down. So it takes a little bit of maneuvering with just one hand, but you can see obviously the ramp will come down, and there's another section here that will also pop open. And there's a little clip here, so you can put that there. And obviously you could see the weapons rack again. So there's just quite a lot of places that, you have to go and search and find all these things. And that's one of my favorite parts of this Micro Galaxy Squadron line. And of course, it wouldn't be the Slave One if it didn't have the changes you can make rotating it on its axis. Here it is horizontal, bring it up vertical, and you can see that the cockpit and the wings both rotate. So they're obviously on the same axis, but again, that's just another fun feature that I feel like every Boba Fett Slave One or Jango Fett Slave One should have at this point. If it doesn't do that, is it really a Slave One toy? But again, they made sure to add that. So taking a look at the bottom, I love that it kind of has, differentiations in the paint. It's a little bit darker here and here and here compared to the rest. Here we obviously have this yellow paint again. But another really cool feature is if you open this, you can actually see There's one of the seismic charges. Same over here. You know, I wish that there had been a little bit more like paint detail, but it's totally understandable why they weren't able to do that. And you can do that on your own. I've seen so many people online adding their own paint details, and it just makes it look even better. You know, obviously you've got like all the plastic, you know, molding there. You just need to add a little bit more, like maybe a wash, that kind of thing. Although there is a little bit of a wash on both of these, but there could be just a little bit more. So let's take a look here at these figures. In the Boba Fett's Starship version from the Book of Boba Fett, you obviously have Daimyo Boba Fett and Fennec Shand. Looks pretty cool. And then in Jango Fett's Starship, you have Jango and young Boba Fett right there. So there are a lot of paint details, which I think is really cool on little tiny figures this small, just for reference. That's how big my pinky finger looks next to them. So you want to be careful not to lose these. They're going to be very easy to lose. But one thing that is a bit of a flaw is on the Boba Fett version, they didn't paint in the visor. And it's kind of disappointing that they didn't do that. Over here on the Jango Fett version, they did, which I think really makes a big difference in how the figures actually look. This is pretty easy to rectify. I've seen people basically take like a little very fine tipped Sharpie or, you know, some of those model paint pens and just very easily add that detail. But I wish that they had done that just to begin with. Same with back here, you know, Boba Fett comes with a jetpack. And so does Jango there, but Boba's doesn't have any paint detail on it. It would have been just kind of like that extra set of detail that I think would have really set this set apart. Here, obviously, Jango, his is painted. You see this really nice silver metallic paint detail, and that looks really nice. So I wish they'd done that on here. Obviously, you know, they're kind of using the same design here for the torsos and heads and the jetpacks themselves on Boba and Jango, but the legs are different. And it's cool because they do have these figures. They're really small, but they do have articulation. You know, you can move the legs down. You can move the arms as well. You know, obviously there's only like 1 point of articulation, so both of the arms will move the exact same way, but for figures this small, it's still pretty cool. You can also take the jetpack off. So obviously when Boba and Jango are in the cockpit, they wouldn't be wearing their jetpacks, and it kind of looks a little weird if you try to put them in there with the jetpacks on. But luckily, I'll show you in just a second, there is a really cool feature on the weapons rack where you can actually store Boba or Jango's jetpack. Here is the weapons rack. It's on a little kind of like hinge right here. And you can see there by, you know, all the blasters and weapons and everything, there's a little hole, and that's meant for the jetpack. I would recommend taking out this weapons rack. It's pretty easy to get in and out because otherwise it's really hard to get the jetpack itself to fit there in the little hole, because, you know, if you have larger fingers than even I do, you know, you're kind of like fumbling around with it. So I would highly recommend just, you know, take it out and then you can pretty easily put it right back in. All in all, I really love this Micro Galaxy Squadron line. I think a lot of people are going to love having these vehicles as well as many of the other ones in their collection, whether they're adults or kids who want to play with it and really enjoy all the little features that are hidden kind of to find. These are both around $30. Jango Fett Starship is a Target exclusive. It's $29.99 online, but I've also seen it in stores. Boba Fett Starship from the Book of Boba Fett. It was available on Target and Walmart. I didn't see it on Target online, but on Walmart it's around like $32 right now, and I've seen it in a lot of Walmarts as well. So it's still available, although it was a launch edition. So if you want to get your hands on this, I would definitely recommend doing that sooner rather than later. I would give Boba Fett Starship 4.5 out of 5 stars, just because I really wish that they had done the paint on the figure itself with the visor and the jetpack. I think that would have just made it kind of like over the top, but it's still a really cool pack, especially for $30. Jango Fett Starship, because it does have that little bit of extra detail, I'm going to give it the extra 0.5 stars and give it a 5 out of 5 stars. I would really recommend you get these toys for anyone in your life who loves Star Wars. I'm hoping that Micro Galaxy Squadron will, continue to use this particular mold and maybe do a repaint for the original trilogy version of Boba Fett's Slave One, maybe with a little tiny carbonite Han. I think that would be a really cool addition there. And hopefully we'll get some display stands for these as well. I think that would really, add something special to the way that we're displaying these. So yeah, I would totally recommend getting these. Thank you all so much for watching this review. Make sure to follow all of Boba Fett Fan Club's socials: YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Mastodon, Instagram. We're kind of everywhere. Again, I'm Chelsey B. Coombs. Thank you for watching.